Hello, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you all wherever you may be. Once again, welcome here to the Éveil des Consciences, our COSA's platform. So, the international news headlines are dominated by two events. President Donald Trump is overwhelmed. He is angry, he is upset, he is lost because Donald Trump realizes that he has been manipulated and trapped by the Europeans. He also understands that he is being manipulated and trapped by Russia. He himself finds himself in a vicious circle that he no longer understands at all. To this effect, Donald Trump has just made a statement. Yes, as if he were bidding farewell to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And because yesterday, during the day, to better respond to Donald Trump, while he was on the phone with Vladimir Putin, what Russia did in Ukraine in just one day was unprecedented. And so, at that moment, Vladimir Putin was talking to Donald Trump on the phone, telling him some hard truths. And at the same time, on the ground, the Russians were showing their own truth to the West and to Donald Trump. All of this contributed to disappointing Donald Trump in more ways than one. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video conference, these are the two events we are going to discuss. There you have it, but you already know how it works. You need to share the video conference, especially those of you who have just joined us. Share the video conference as much as possible. Yes. So, let's start with what Russia did on the ground yesterday. The Ukrainian army makes an announcement. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces announced that they had recorded 177 clashes over the course of Monday. 177 clashes, nearly 180. So, the Russians notably carried out 72 attacks in the Pokrovsk region, in Donetsk Oblast, in eastern Ukraine, and around 20 assaults in the direction of Novopavlivka to the southwest. So, 177 clashes. It's rare, it's unprecedented. This shows a new Russian offensive, while Putin is on the phone with Donald Trump. On the other side, the Ukrainian army also reported Russian offensives still in the east of the country, in the direction of Lyman, Toretsk, Siversk, Kramatorsk, Kharkiv, and Kupiansk. And the Russians didn't stop there. Later, in the south, in the direction of Orikhiv, in the Zaporizhzhia region. So, they struck again on that front. So, the Ukrainian military also reported 59 Russian airstrikes during the day yesterday as well, as the dropping of 117 aerial bombs. So they carried out 59 strikes and dropped 117 aerial bombs. Maranatha. The number is too high, so they didn't stop there. There was the deployment of 2,882 kamikaze drones and more than 5,300 artillery strikes. More than 2,882 drones launched. Can you imagine? It's too much. That is to say, Russia did this in response to the Westerners, who were hoping that, after the call, there would be an immediate ceasefire. This is the ceasefire that's in place. An escalation of fire instead of a ceasefire. So Donald Trump is out of his depth. First, because of the results he has seen on the ground. The compelling strength of Russia that he has witnessed firsthand. And on top of that, what he discussed with Vladimir Putin over the phone. So, according to the official information relayed by RT France, Donald Trump is moderating his position. He is moderating his position. How so? Donald Trump is moderating his stance on Ukraine. He believes that the United States should not have intervened in the Ukrainian conflict. America should not get involved, whether it was Joe Biden who intervened or even himself who intervened. That is to say, to such an extent that he sees the failure. He sees that he has completely failed. The very one who had promised to resolve the conflict in 24 hours, so much so that Putin, seeing his failure, he now says that America should not have intervened. So, what does he say? He describes the Ukrainian conflict as a European problem. This is a problem for the Europeans. America has nothing to do with this. If that's not disappointment speaking, from someone who was so committed. He says that America has nothing to do with this. It's happening on the European continent. It's up to the Europeans to solve their own problems. However, he did state that he was considering all options, including increasing arms deliveries to Kiev. Donald Trump is starting to go back on what he criticized during the reign under the Biden administration. He's starting to return to the practices that America engaged in before he came to power. Donald Trump, wants to go back on what he himself rejected as soon as he first came to power. So, starting again to deliver weapons to Ukraine means that the option of peace has failed. But he himself is going to contradict himself right away. Let's dive deeper. Share the video conference. What does he say? He reaffirms that he believes in a diplomatic resolution. He says he will use all options, including increasing the delivery of weapons to Kiev, and he reaffirms that he believed in a diplomatic resolution to the conflict. So he puts it in the past tense, he believed. That means there is no possible way to resolve this conflict diplomatically. He comes back to it again. He specifies that a real hope for peace now exists. Now, there is a real hope for peace. But what a contradiction. If there is hope for peace, why? Does he say that he believed in a diplomatic resolution to the conflict? And why does he say that he is going to start rearming Ukraine? If he truly believes there is a real hope for peace. So, he says that he believes in a real hope for peace that now exists, which is the reason why he refuses to intensify sanctions against Russia. So, here is what Donald Trump is saying. Extremely mixed statements in which you can sense disillusionment, a total sense of disappointment and disengagement, the beginning of a withdrawal. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was today's top news story. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news for you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.